Hi guys, welcome to the channel. College football is back and I'm more excited than ever. It's week 1 and we got plenty of matchups to evaluate this week. What I intend to do here for the 2025 season is kind of look at different spreads versus Vegas. I like to dive into the computer models, so I've gone online and I've pulled up 24 separate models. I've collated all of that, and essentially what I'm trying to do is take those models, take the numbers on the spreads for every single game, and then see where there lies value against Vegas. So I'm trying to find the biggest discrepancies, games where the spread and the models don't line up. So again, this is just a collation, a collection, if you will, of all the games, but I'm highlighting some key games. These are spots where you can find value, because either Vegas is overvaluing a team or the models are pointing in a different direction. So let's jump into some games for this week. Auburn and Baylor meet in a marquee Week 1 matchup in Waco, with Auburn favored by 2.5 points. Auburn, in year 3 under Hugh Freeze, and the Tigers turned to Oklahoma transfer quarterback Jackson Arnold to revive an offense that struggled last year in the red zone, and need to replace key playmakers like running back Jarquez Hunter and wide receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith. They'll look to rely on a more experienced offensive line and a defense that allowed just 4.9 yards per play last year. Baylor counters with NFL prospect quarterback Sawyer Robertson, who threw 28 TDs in 2024, supported by 1,000-yard rusher Bryson Washington, and a tempo boost under new offensive coordinator Jake Spavital. Supported by a balanced backfield anchored by Washington and Dawson Pendergrass, Robertson also has a strong receiving corps, featuring Josh Cameron and newcomer Kobe Prentice from Alabama. With both teams seeking early validation and led by mobile quarterbacks, odds makers see this one as a tight one. Vegas currently lists Auburn as a 2.5-point favorite, but the models average Baylor out by 3.5 points. According to the mathematical predictions, Baylor should actually be the slight favorite. This is a game that is close and may come down to a field goal or a final possession, and while it's hard to predict who will end up coming out on top, there's a slight value in taking Baylor. If I were going to approach this from a gambling perspective, I'd be more likely to stay away from the spread and take Baylor moneyline, because this game truly is a toss-up. However, going with the mathematical consensus and the model, it favors Baylor, if only slightly. It's a battle of new head coaches and an in-state competition taking place in West Lafayette, Indiana, with head coach Barry Odom coming into Purdue, and first-time D1 head coach Mike Yuremovich at Ball State. For the Boilermakers, Barry Odom is coming over from quite a successful 2-year stint as head coach at UNLV, leading the Rebels to 10 wins last year, the most in that program's history. He's in a strong position to hit the ground running and turn a Purdue team around that went 1-11 last year. You heard that right. The Boilermakers went 1-11 last year. The Boilermakers are led under center by redshirt sophomore Ryan Brown, returning starting running back Devin Mockabee, and have plenty of transfers added to their receiving corps, including an entrant into the all-name team in Nitro Tuggle, transferring over from Georgia. At Ball State, Mike Yuremovich is taking over after coaching at FBS school Butler. Ball State lost starter Caden Samanza to Tulane in the portal, and new QB Kyle Kelly will have his work cut out for him as he transitions back to the quarterback position after playing wide receiver last year. He did play a little bit of quarterback in 2023, however, but he'll have to readjust if Ball State wants any chance to be competitive. On defense, Ball State is bolstered by a secondary featuring transfers Michael Gravely Jr. and Avery Stewart from Western Michigan and Kentucky, respectively. This game is one of the more interesting games in terms of the models versus Vegas. If I'm taking this objectively and looking at the predictive models and finding discrepancies versus the bookmakers, all the major systems, from ESPN to Billingsley, all think that Vegas has these lines set too high and is overinflating Purdue's value. At the time of recording, Vegas lines currently sit at 18.5, while all 24 models sampled have Purdue as the favorite at somewhere between 9 to 12 points. Personally, I think the lack of data this early in the season can create a potential pitfall. It doesn't understand the true nature of this Purdue squad yet. They have 53 new faces on the roster, and while I'd be hard-pressed to imagine Purdue can at least double their win total from last year, who knows how good they will actually be. They should win this game, but this is a team that is still predicted to finish last in the Big Ten. The models scream overinflation, and everything else screams take Ball State. Vegas is heavy on Purdue. When nearly every model clusters together against Vegas, it suggests that the market is inflating. In the interest of finding out how the data plays against Vegas, 18 points is just too many points for a team with too many questions. I'm taking Ball State plus 18.5. David Braun's Northwestern offense gets a major boost this year with SMU transfer quarterback Preston Stone, who brings over 4,000 career passing yards and 35 touchdowns. He'll be joined by returning rusher Cam Porter, who led the team with 501 rushing yards and 6 scores last season. South Dakota State transfer Griffin Wild is expected to step in as Stone's top target. Tulane enters its second season under coach John Summerall, looking to extend a run of 3 straight 9-win campaigns and 6 bowl appearances in the last 7 years. BYU transfer Jake Retzloff brings 3,600 passing yards and 23 touchdowns worth of experience to lead the offense, with Arnold Barnes set to handle feature-back duties behind one of the AAC's stronger lines, anchored by Shadre Hurst and Derek Grant. While the Green Wave must replace production at receiver, the core pieces remain solid. On defense, playmakers such as Sam Howard, Bailey Despain, and Kevin Adams III return to a unit that also features standout lineman Santana Hopper, giving Tulane enough balance to remain a top contender in the conference. With lines opening at 5.5 and now sitting around 6 in most books in favor of Tulane, according to the models, Vegas doesn't have Tulane winning by enough. Across the board, nearly every model favors Tulane by at least 8 to 13 points, with an average of 12. Some of my family members are season ticket holders for Northwestern, but this game is not in Evanston. It's going to be hot and muggy down in New Orleans with temperatures in the mid-80s. And while Preston Stone is going to be an efficient boost for Northwestern, the team is still predicted to finish in the bottom third of the Big Ten. I hate to break it to my family, I agree with the models, and I have Tulane winning this game and covering the spread. Kirby Smart, Gunnar Stockton and company are taking on the Thundering Herd from Marshall. Defending their SEC crown, Stockton will have plenty of talent to throw to and transfer Zachariah Branch from USC and Noah Thomas from Texas A&M. Kirby Smart has said he wants to run the ball effectively, and he should be fine with Nate Frazier and a committee of talent to back him up. Dalen Everett anchors the defense as a preseason first-team All-SEC All-Conference selection. Marshall has a new head coach and former NC State defensive coordinator Tony Gibson, making his head coaching debut. Outgoing coach Charlie Huff left for Southern Miss. He took 25 guys off the roster with him. This is a new-look team for Marshall that ranks near the bottom of the NCAA in terms of returning talent. Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs' aim will be to get the rotation guys in as soon as possible, while avoiding a slow start, something Georgia struggled with last year. While this new-look Marshall team might give Georgia a slight test early, it's a matter of if, not when, Georgia turns up the heat and beats this team. Vegas has this game with Georgia being at 39.5. The models have this game anywhere from 29 points to 34 points. And even with a powerhouse like Georgia that has so much talent and a brand new Marshall squad, I tend to agree with the model here. A blowout spread like this is just notoriously tough to cover. Vegas is factoring in for garbage time points, and that's just too volatile. The models are going to deflate extreme lines to counterbalance, but given that Georgia's 0-12-1 against the spread in games over 38 points under Kirby Smart, I think the safe play here is to play the models. This one screams Marshall. Marshall to beat the spread.
Hawaii head coach Timmy Chang takes the Rainbow Warriors to Tucson, fresh off a 23-20 Week 0 win over Stanford, highlighted by the emergence of transfer receiver Jackson Harris and the steady play of QB Micah Alejado. Alejado is a sophomore, hailing from Las Vegas powerhouse Bishop Gorman. Though he suffered a leg injury that could impact the offense in the upcoming week, the Rainbow Warriors' run game remains secondary in Timmy Chang's run-and-shoot scheme, while the undersized defensive front raises concerns about stopping Arizona's ground attack. With that clear opportunity, the Wildcats can lean on their ground attack heavily. Running back Kedrick Reeskano is a physical downhill runner who flashed potential last season and has a favorable matchup here against Hawaii's relatively undersized defensive line. Reeskano will be paired with transfer Ishmael Mahdi, an explosive playmaker from Texas State, who brings speed to complement Reeskano's power. Both are expected to establish a consistent rushing attack that can take pressure off quarterback Noah Fafita. In the passing game, wide receiver Chris Hunter, the team's leading returning receiver, has strong chemistry with Fafita and will look to build on his strong finish from last season. Overall, Arizona's offense under new coordinator Seth Thagey is expected to emphasize the run game while still relying on Hunter as a reliable passing threat. There's a significant 6-point gap between the Vegas line and the prediction average, with the market favoring Arizona more heavily than most models. The prediction models show a tight consensus, clustering around -11 to -13, which is a notable divergence from the market line at 17.5. Considering this opened at 10.5, I think the market moved due to the possibility of travel fatigue for Hawaii, which usually pushes numbers towards a bigger Vegas spread. Also, the models do not account for the injury to Alejado. If he plays, I think the model tracks better to the opening line, and if he doesn't, I could see Arizona approaching the 17.5 mark. The prediction models are saying lean Hawaii. If you're interested in this game, this discrepancy represents a good mid-level consensus value opportunity in taking Hawaii.
Alright guys, that's it for week 1. I hope you're as excited as I am for these games. I know I'm going to be locked in watching all weekend. Hope you have a happy, healthy, and safe weekend out there, and happy betting. Those were some games that I thought that the numbers and the books didn't quite line up, and that's usually where things get interesting. Obviously, this is just to point these out. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. But I just kind of wanted to find some inconsistencies. It keeps me interested while I'm watching games over the weekend. Again, that doesn't mean the models are always right, but it gives us a different way to look at matchups, and that's something I think we could always use. If you found this helpful, drop a comment. Let me know which games you're keeping an eye on. Hit the like button. If you have questions about a specific game, I've got every data point for every single game, so please feel free. And again, hit that like and subscribe, and thanks for stopping by. See you in the next one, guys. Thanks.